This January, Disney Plus is the home to new stories, new journeys, and new beginnings, with Disney's National Treasure Edge of History, as well as Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 for the older kids in your family. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. I'm definitely looking forward to that new National Treasure show for one of our Friday family movie nights to cuddle up on the couch with some popcorn. All these and more streaming this month only on Disney Plus. Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kid Short Stories. If this is your first time, welcome to the family. We are the podcast that turns your ideas into an amazing adventure every single day. You know, we couldn't even exist without imaginations from kids just like you. So if you have an idea for a story, I'd love to see it. Check down in the show notes below for how you can submit your own story idea, and maybe we'll turn it into an awesome adventure. And parents, if you're new to kids podcasting, I want to challenge you to listen to podcasting for 5 days in a row with your kids. It's going to increase their imagination, decrease screen time, and we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Are you guys ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! Mr. Moose was wandering through the woods one day when his tummy began grumbling loudly.
Oh, I'm so hungry,
groaned Mr. Moose. He'd been trying to follow the scent of maple leaves all morning long, but no luck. Maple leaves were a moose favorite for breakfast. He sniffed the air again, but no maple leaves. But there was a delicious scent in the air, so Mr. Moose followed it to a clearing. He saw tents set up along the trees and a fire pit in the middle.
Oh, this must be a campsite, don't you know?
Mr. Moose looked around but didn't see anyone. He did, however, see a table, and on that table, that's where the delicious smell was coming from. Moose pranced onto the campsite, headed straight towards the table. A whole camping feast was laid out. Burgers, hot dogs, veggie dogs, and more. But Mr. Moose was only there for that sweet, smelling, honey-roasted carrots. Mr. Moose munched them all down quickly. The honey was sweet, but there was something else.
Sriracha! These were not just sweet carrots. They were sweet
and spicy!
Hot! Need water!
Mr. Moose took off running for the nearest water source. Gulp, gulp, gulp. He guzzled the river water until his mouth cooled down.
Uh-oh,
said Mr. Moose when he finished. He had drank so much water that the river was hardly running anymore. Whoops. What was even worse, that river was supposed to run down a waterfall. And that waterfall was supposed to fill the pool of water. Oh dear, for all the other forest animals. Mr. Moose was embarrassed and started to worry. A fly buzzed by.
Hey, what do you do with all the water?
Buzzed the fly. Mr. Moose explained about the spicy carrots.
And now, none of the animals will have any water,
finished Mr. Moose.
It's all right, Mr. Moose. I know someone who can help. Follow me!
Then the fly buzzed quickly down the side of the mountain toward the bottom of the waterfall as Mr. Moose tried to keep up with him. Mr. Moose was making his way down the mountain, and two best friends were playing by the pool of water. Aqua the unicorn and Darla the deer were having cannonball contests in the water, seeing who could create the biggest splash.
out of 10. Good job.
Aqua shouted at Darla after her cannonball.
That one almost reached the top of the trees.
The two best friends giggled and splashed in the water. Aqua the unicorn looked around and called out,
Do any other forest animals want to enter the cannonball contest?
A sound came from the bushes on the side of the mountain. Darla the deer looked and saw an animal running towards the pool.
It looks like that moose wants to join,
she said. Mr. Moose had just made it to the pool at the bottom of the mountain after following that fly down. The fly stopped and turned back towards the moose.
There she is. The unicorn. She can help.
He buzzed before flying up and flew away. Aqua the unicorn turned to see the moose standing at the edge of the pool looking at her expectantly. She assumed he had heard her shouting, so she asked,
Hi. Are you here to compete in the cannonball contest?
Mr. Moose shook his head.
No, the waterfall.
Then he began blubbering.
It's all my fault.
Aqua and Darla were so busy playing that they didn't really even notice anything had changed. But now they heard how quiet it was.
The waterfall,
shrieked Darla the deer.
It's gone.
The waterfall was nothing more than a small drip, like the one from a leaky sink faucet. Mr. Moose kept blubbering.
The carrots were so spicy. I was so thirsty. I drank all the water without realizing it. But then a fly told me he knew someone who could help.
Aqua soared out of the water like only a magical unicorn could.
Don't worry, Mr. Moose, the fly was right. I can help. I'm Aqua the unicorn. Now if you'll just give me a second or two.
Then Aqua leapt up to the top of the empty waterfall. Up on top, Aqua stomped her hooves and pointed her unicorn horn at the dry ground. What? Rainbows began pouring out of her horn and hooves and flowed down the path of the empty waterfall. Wow. The rainbows grew lighter until they were clear as water. No, not clear as water.
Wait! They actually became water!
Aqua whinnied and rode the water down the waterfall, splashing into the pool with a giant cannonball that sprayed water on Mr. Moose, Darla, and actually almost all the forest animals. It was a giant cannonball. They all cheered for Aqua, happy to have the waterfall back. Darla cheered the loudest for her best friend and shouted, 10 of 10, the perfect cannonball. Wow, I'm so glad that they were able to save that waterfall. It's a good thing too, because it seems like Mr. Moose needed to drink a lot of water. Well, friends, I hope you all have a super duper day, and gotta keep our eyes out for those sriracha carrots. They can be sweet, but also very spicy. The end.
We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Wow, looks like we're already back to the show.
Great job. You listened all the way to the end, and you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shoutouts. I want to say hey to Rain from California, Grace and Hunter from Ontario, Sienna and Chloe from Michigan, Henry and Jack from Idaho, Madonna from Annapolis, and Arlo from Oklahoma. I'm so glad that you're all on the Kid Your Stories family. We could not have this much fun with imagination without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I'll see you on our next adventure. Bye!
We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor.
This January, Disney Plus is the home to new stories, new journeys, and new beginnings. With Disney's National Treasure Edge of History, as well as Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2 for the older kids in your family. Months have passed since the events on Kamino, and the Bad Batch continue their journey navigating the Empire after the fall of the Republic. I'm definitely looking forward to that new National Treasure show for one of our Friday family movie nights to cuddle up on the couch with some popcorn. All these and more streaming this month only on Disney+.